guys, what's going on? It's ThatHomeTheaterDude. Got a brand new episode today. So I got the PB-4000, right? I've been having that thing for a couple months. So check this little guy out over here. Really like that thing right now. So I've had that thing for a few months and I haven't used it to its full potential. So in the circuitry, it already has a built-in DSP. So what DSP is you can go in there and modify different frequencies to make your representation of sound that much better. So what I have right here is I have this thing called REW Umik Wizard. So with that, you basically, all you do is buy a calibrated microphone. You download this free software and you put the calibrated microphone in your main listening position like you would with Odyssey. And you run the software and it'll give your speakers sounds. It'll generate sounds that can be measured via the microphone, and then you can, if you have a DSP, you can manipulate them through there. So this thing has built-in DSP, the sub itself. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be tuning the sub today, and to do that, basically what you do is you just start making tones. So obviously this is already after you've done your Odyssey, right? So Odyssey is going to give you the right speaker distances, it's going to give you the right gains. So after you do that, you're going to want to continue your tuning with this software. So you basically just go into it. Very simple thing. I'm just going to do a quick little test measurement just to show you what it's like. And it'll do a frequency sweep between 1 and 200 Hertz. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. All right, real simple. So this is where I started. So as you can see over here, this is going to be 10 Hertz over on this very end. Over here is going to be 200 Hertz. So if you have your crossovers set at a certain point, say like your sub crosses over at 125 or your sub crosses over at 100. See this line right here? That's 100. So in effect, all this stuff over here in this fat area, it's inconsequential because you're not going to be listening to that portion of the graph anyway. So whatever it looks like, it doesn't matter. So whenever you're manipulating, the first thing you're going to do is manipulate the distances, and that'll give you the best overall performance of this, because maybe sometimes Odyssey gets it wrong and it doesn't necessarily know what's best for your sub. So without getting into all that fine detail, I'm just going to go ahead and say just modify the distances just to see what you get. So I know that Subwoofer 101 says to add 4 feet, and I did that and it didn't work for me. So let me just show you that. But before I do that, let me just say this. Whenever you have your graph, this is a visual representation of what your bass is performing at your main listening position. So if you have multiple listening positions, then you'll have to do additional tuning. And also you want this as flat as possible. So you see how it goes up a little bit, goes down even more. You want all this to be as flat as possible because that'll give you the best representation of sound that your sub can actually perform. So let's go ahead and modify the distances to see what we actually get. So you go back into Setup, Speakers, Distances. Let's add 4 feet to this. Crap, what was it? Was it 12.4? So let's say 16.4. Let's see what happens. You don't have to go all the way out. You can just still have it on there, but you have to at least get out of that one screen. So this is the last one. Let's go ahead and just run it one last time. And that's that. So now I get this graph whenever I had this graph. See the difference? Wait, I went too far back. So this is what I started with. And this is with the 4 feet. You see how it dips down even further, right there around 80-90 Hertz? That's exactly what you don't want. So what I did is I started working my way, started manipulating the numbers. I started working up, that didn't work, so I decided to start going back down. And I kind of found around the middle area between the two worked out best for me. So let's go ahead and just show you that. So this is what I ended up with. and this is what the 4 feet was. See the big difference? So I think this is with leaving it at 14.2 feet. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back in there, change this back to 14.2, and then I'll show you guys the rest of it. So this is kind of tedious if you guys have time. Obviously, if you're looking into this, then it means that you really want the best type of sound for your system. And I mean, to be honest, it's well worth it. So just stick in there and deal with the crappiness for right now, and you'll be a lot happier with your setup. So now I got my distances done, which is cool. So now what I have is the cool thing with the SVS sub is you have the app, right? Okay, so now with SVS, they have their app, right? So with this thing, it's super cool because you can manipulate a lot of different things with this. Not only the DSP, but with the ported models, you can actually, oh crap, you can't see it. So with the ported models, you can actually have it to where you can change the port tuning. So if you want to have it to where you really want to have a lot more extended, like in extended mode, it basically means that you'll get a lot more of the bass that you can feel. So pretty much any bass below 20 Hertz, it's going to boost that up. So you can do that if you want. You just shove one of those little foam ports into the middle one, and then you just change this, and then you're ready to go. So without getting into that, I've already explained a lot of the stuff in a different video. So if you want, I can put the link up right here. Boom, put it right here, and you guys can watch that video. But besides that, let's just go ahead and jump into the DSP on this thing. So let's go into Parametric EQ. So now I've already messed with all this stuff, right? So I've set it up to where I like it. So what I did is I started at the top end. So actually, no, I started over here. PEQ1, I started at the top end. So let me just show you how I did that. Okay, so what I did is I looked at my graph initially, and then I found out where the peaks were. So the big one that I wanted to address was 80 to 90, and then this one right here, which is gonna be, I think, 38. And then over here, I wanted to smooth out this a little bit too. So, I mean, you only get 3 options for correction. So just pick your favorite 3. Obviously, what I could have done is not worried about, 80 to 90 and just focus more on the meat of things over here. But I didn't do that because I figured if I'm gonna be manipulating this one, it may correct this one to a certain extent. So let's just go ahead and show you what I did. This is the baseline right here. And then I started just adding at, I think, 89 Hertz. And the way you find out where you want to go is just click on it. So you find the biggest dip, click on it. And I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me see if I can zoom in real quick. But you see how it says 89 right there? So that's how I figured out which frequency I wanted to use on the SVS app. So just showing you real quick, you can actually just go in here and you can control the frequencies. See right here? And you can just do those stepwise. So you can go each individual Hertz if you want. And then actually I need to turn it on. So you can control each individual Hertz like that. So that's really cool if you want, really precise like I did, instead of just like a blanket statement. And then you also have your frequency, you have your boost. So your boost is going to be if you have a frequency that you want to increase, you can want to boost it. But then you can also go the other way. So if you have a bass that's too strong in one area and you want to cut it out, you can obviously go the opposite direction. But I don't remember where I put this at. I think it was at 6. Probably. Let's just leave it there for now. And then Q factor is how fat or wide or skinny you want the boost to be. So manipulate that. So whenever I was doing it, let's just show you right here. I started out really low, and my first setting was 89 Hertz with just 1 decibel gain. And that worked pretty good. It looked like I was going in the right direction. So I did 2 decibels gain and 1 on the Q factor. So I took the scientific approach on this, and I just modified one thing at a time. And that's probably the best way to do it. It's tedious, but you'll get the best performance out of it. So here I'm at 89 Hertz with 3 decibels boosted and a Q factor of 2. So I'm making my boost skinnier. And as you can see, the graph's going in the right direction. I kind of made an overcorrection there. Keep going. So you see how that, dip right here is coming up? That's what I wanted. So I kept going, and I think this is the final product. So I started out, let's see, 1832, 1812. Yeah, let's try that. It's gonna take forever. All right, so this shows you where I'm at now. So I was at this, and then let me see if I can pull up the file real quick. I think it was this one. So this is after my stage 1 of doing the correction factor with the SVS app. So as you can see, I kind of traded off a little bit. Let's see, what did I trade off? Yeah, it kind of looks like I lost a little bit on the bottom end, but I don't think that's too big of a deal. And then I gained, obviously right here, and then I gained over here. So that's this is what I was focusing on in the first place. As I said, like, you get ancillary effects with different spots throughout the graph whenever you're just modifying one part of the frequency curve. So let's go ahead and jump in to the rest of this then. So that's just basically how you do the first step. So whenever you're doing the SVS app, just pick it up and go into your second one. You have to turn it on and then just do the same set of tuning. So if you see down here, we have the same thing again. I picked up, I think 38. I picked up 38 Hertz. I gave it 5 decibels of boost, and then I had a 4 wide type of curve. So the reason why I did that is, obviously, again, you go back to your graph, you look at what you want to modify. So this was what bothered me right here, this little dip right here. So you just click on the bottom of it. As you can see, let me go ahead and see if I can zoom in. It's 38 Hertz. So that's how you figure out what you want to modify. So you just do the exact same thing again. You just pick your best guess, start boosting the actual decibels themselves, and then you can manipulate how wide or how skinny that boost is. So let's just keep going and show you what I ended up with. Actually, I'm still on 89, so this hasn't even got to it yet. Okay, so here we go. So now I'm doing the 38 Hertz correction. I did this one, and I went from 38 to 45 to see what would happen, and it went the opposite direction. And as I said, you guys will make mistakes with this, so just make notes. And that's what's important. So if you look over here, if you can see, I'll see if I can focus on that real quick too. Over here, you have your notes. So make sure you guys write good notes. So whenever you run a test, immediately put in your settings so you don't forget them. So that if it looked good, then you can come back to it and you can use it again. And if it was bad, then you know where to start to fix it. So that was really important to me. I kept forgetting to put in the notes of what I was actually doing, so it took a lot longer than I thought it was, or I thought it would. And I think this is it. So I have 38, 1837 versus 1837 versus 1834. So let's see if I can do an overlay of that. And as you can see, it didn't change all that much, but it did make it a little better. So this is where I started, and this is where I finished. So you see how that little area right here got boosted up? That's what I wanted. Obviously this isn't perfect, like I said. I mean, I'm gonna spend a little more time with it, but I was just really excited about doing this, so I wanted to show you guys real quick. And that's it. So I did that right there for that one. And then you have one last little spot on there that you can do your last EQ. So whenever you have these things on there, you just click on it and then you're ready to go. Just do this one like you did before, and then that way you have the best representation. It doesn't matter if you work low to high, high to low, just get methodical with it and you'll get the best results. But let's just go ahead and show you where I started and then where I finished to see if you guys can see a big difference in the actual curve itself. So let's do that real quick. So here we go. This is just the tuning for 25 Hertz. And like I said, just pick your favorite little spot on the bottom. And you want it as flat as possible. So whenever I say flat as possible, you see how it's, not a dip there. It's just kind of, like a slope. That's ideally what you want. You want flat or slope-like. You don't want to have it to where it has peaks like this. See that? All right, guys, so this video is getting pretty long, so I'm just gonna go ahead and show what I ended up doing as whenever I finished the sub-tuning from the app. So I don't think I showed the last little part of this last EQ, but it's more or less the same stuff. You just do the same things that we were doing for the first two, and I'll show you the results right here. So as you can see, this is where I started, like absolutely from the beginning, this is what I started with right here. So whenever I overlay the new stuff on top of it, or actually, this is where I ended. This is where I started. Sorry about that. As you can see, you got a lot more dip in here. See all this curve, all this stuff that I filled in. A lot of those peaks were taken out, or a lot of those valleys were taken out, and I kind of just filled them in. The overall curve itself didn't change a whole lot. The shape of the curve, I really wanted it more flat, but I mean, this is my very first time messing with this, but it's just to show you the impact that you can have on your subwoofer sound. I mean, like, this thing already has DSP in it. If you guys want to buy a DSP for like a set of speakers, you can do that as well. And I mean, you can manipulate things that way. If your sub doesn't have DSP like mine does, so say if like you have a different type of subwoofer, obviously you gotta buy the Umik and you gotta buy a mini DSP. There's lots of different ones you can get. There's check them out on the REW Umik Wizard website. They'll tell you which ones you can get. I think there's a Behringer and different things like that. But I mean, mini DSP isn't the only one you can get, is what I'm trying to say. But besides that, I mean, if you want to do that for your own sub and you don't have the PB-4000, say if you have the PB-2000, and you want to set it up really good, then obviously just go ahead and just do the same thing I did. You're just going to do a little bit of different connection. You're not going to have it to where it's set up with your sub itself. So it's just an additional little thing that you got to stick on there in between your sub. It's kind of like you stick it in between your amplifier and your subwoofer. So I mean, you can get a lot better sound out of what you have. So don't necessarily be happy with the limitations of what you were given. I mean, you can obviously make things better. So that's the whole idea behind this. So I think that's pretty cool that SVS actually put that in their sub. They started putting them in their, I think the Ultra series. So if you want to have an Ultra, you can have that as well. So they have the 13, the 16, and the PB-4000. All of those have the DSP functions in them. So it makes it really easy to go ahead and mess around with this app that they have right here. And, fix problems that you have. So if you have something that's too boomy, you can cut it out. If you have something that's too weak, you can boost it up. Stuff like that. So I mean, there's lots of different functions in here too, like I was talking about the port tuning. I'm gonna go ahead and get into that in a different episode. But besides that, I mean, I just wanted to show you guys the quick and dirty, what you guys can do with these things. It's actually really cool. So if you like this video, just let me know. Hit the subscribe button. If you guys like to buy this stuff, let me know as well. I'm an SVS affiliate, so I can help you out with anything, any questions you guys have. If you guys want to buy this stuff, I got links all in the description. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I'm sorry I got too long, but I was trying to just I was trying to make it quick. But I mean, with something with the magnitude of tackling all this, it takes a little time to get into it. For me, it's a learning curve, and I'm sure it'll be a learning curve for you guys too. So thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.